Hey, I'm your local theatre kid, and here is a more detailed explanation of how I work. Firstly, a teacher sets an assignment and I have ideas of how I'm going to tackle it. Secondly, I make a detailed, specific, realistic and flexible to-do list. Thirdly, for every task on the to-do list, I use a different document. Some more notable things I do are, I write down all my thoughts, I make sure everything is documented, i.e. I put photos, documents and videos into a folder and organise it nicely. I like this way of working because it shows my thought process and idea of progression, which also acts as evidence towards my distinction. For Unit 15, Theatre Directing, I was assigned with directing either Romeo's introductory scene from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, or the opening scene of Samuel Beckett's Endgame. I decided to go with Endgame because I wanted a challenge, and I just performed a week of Romeo and Juliet at Titchfield Festival Theatre's The Great Barn. I started by experimenting with the staging. I then wrote down ideas of how to modernise it or make it relevant to my performers. Roe v. Wade is what I went for. I then wanted to relate it to a practitioner, so I picked Stephen Burkhoff. This is because it seemed dark and ugly, and Clough's 25 stage directions was precise. At home, I made a to-do list. 1. Do I understand the play? Do a summary of the characters, beginning, middle and end. 2. How can I explore the relationship between Ham and Clough with Oscar and Joe? 3. Go back to my original idea and Miss Heisman's advice. 4. Make a lesson plan and resources for the 13th of July. I could have been more specific with task 1. I had to read the play first to understand it. Despite this, I was productive, time efficient and prepared, and thus an improved director. On completion of my to-do list, I had 5 documents and 14 files altogether.
14? Did you hear that?
Side note, not everything is in the folder yet, as it is an ongoing unit, so assume that there will be more added. This is the first time I work this way, and it is set a benchmark for future projects. Hence I'm showing this to you. Directing the opening scene of Endgame was challenging because Beckett's work allows no artistic freedom. I only learnt this fact halfway through the preparation, so I had to change everything. Or so it seemed. I wrote down all my conflicting thoughts and ideas in document 5. Go back to my original idea and Miss Heisman's advice. This was also my first time I had used the specification to my advantage. For example, I had to understand what the exam board needed of me to get full marks. Did that mean change my idea and conform to the nonconformist, or not conform to the nonconformist and explain why to my performers? I figured out it was the latter and decided to do just that. This explicitly shows my thought process and idea of progression, which I find fascinating and helps me get a distinction as I have evidence. The way I organise my folders is interesting too. I number it so they are in chronological order. If it was the same thing, i.e. experimenting with staging, I will use numbers and letters so that people know it was part of one segment. This makes it easier to mark, so could, hypothetically, increase my chances of getting a high grade. To conclude, this is my most efficient way of working because it actually gets me started and motivated to keep going when things get tough. Break down a big project into small tasks so it isn't daunting. Evidence is a big part of this course because it shows the examiners and the exam board that the teachers are correct in giving you that grade. This means you have to document it well. I hope this has helped you. If it has, please like, share and subscribe with notifications turned on. See you soon!